Hey y'all, it's a new episode of Steph and Cat Talk. Wow, we get a recap of all of the Beast rivalries up until this point to lead her to her being the champion. And of course, we see a lot of tag team action in this episode. Of course, this is Steph and Cat Talk. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs, and the rumor stutters. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's
Hey y'all, welcome to a brand new episode of Steph and Cat Talk. Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, contributing writer for Daily DDT, and color commentator. Please book your girl. But of course, I'm not alone. I am with the fabulous super mom and creator of In Cat We Trust, the fabulous media entity that talks about wrestling and also a combination of other things, as well as a writer and author herself. She is Katarina Blake. How are you, Katarina?
I'm fine.
Tired too, but we are going to push through as best as we can because we always have so much to talk about, so much to dive into in this crazy world of wrestling that just doesn't seem to be letting up this summer at all. But of course, in the midst of everything that's happening, we're still here giving everybody the wow vibes. Of course, thank you to everyone who's watching on all of our live platforms on Facebook, Instagram. Well, yeah, Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, and YouTube. Of course, chime in the comments if there's a part of the show that resonates with you. And of course, just tell us who your favorite WoW superheroes are and just interact there. Because, of course, we did have to push the show back because we normally have it on Wednesday, but life be lifing, so we had to move it. But thank all of you just for being understanding and for just continuing to rock with us and support us regardless. So, this episode was called Champions Rise. And of course, it aired during this past weekend, which is June the 8th through the 9th. Like, we are really in June, like, it's getting crazy. And yeah, this episode was really good for the most part and very, solid in terms of its actions. So as a whole, I would say, Katrina, what did you like about this episode?
Well, the main event in particular, which was pretty cool, just in light of some things. I thought that was nice, but it was also kind of nice to just see certain other things, other storylines play out as well. But I was definitely really hyped about the main event.
Oh, absolutely. I was really happy about that main event. And of course, once the show got started, all of it sort of fed into what we would see in the main event as well. So once the episode got cracking, we had a recap of the Beast and her very, very dominant victory over Abilene Maverick for the Wild World Championship, which of course, we did talk about and give praise to the Beast for actually getting the title back that she never lost. That was a whole thing that we had in our last episode. So if you missed it, please go back and watch it. We were super duper happy that is what happened. And we are living in a world where yet another Black woman is the champion and is the face of a promotion, and the Beast has the title back. So it's just really cool. But something else that they did show was Abilene Maverick having to be helped out of the locker room and into a car and into her hotel room due to some nerve damage and also some back damage that she sustained as a result of the Beast Bomb and a level of other things that were happening in said match. So they wound up, taking her to get herself checked out, and she got helped out by an ENT and Vicky Lynn McCoy. So I'm not sure if this will be the last we'll see of her, but she did look very defeated, and just really sad in comparison to how we had been seeing her over the course of this second season, where she's just like, I'm your rightful champion, I'm this girl, and all this other stuff, like all that braggadocious, it was just out of the window. Because she got her butt beat, much to the joy and satisfaction of Katrina, as you can see. And and that's really the last that we sort of saw of her. So as the episode proper got started, David McLean was preparing to interview the Beast, and he was going to ask her like who was going to be like her next opponent or who she had in mind for it. But before she could even answer, she gets interrupted by the Fab Four, because y'all know everything got to be about them, right? So they get it. She gets interrupted, and then Lana grabs the mic and says, "Wow, Beast, you don't look so big and bad right now, do you?" Because of course all the girls were surrounding her and trying to intimidate her or whatever. And she said, "The Fab Four demand a title match," and David McLean said, "The Beast is the champion. She hasn't made up her mind yet. What is this, an ambush?" And Lana Starr said, "There's no ambush here. We just want what's rightfully ours." And David said, "Well, who do you think deserves the title shot?" And then Penelope Pink steps up, because she's gonna be the main one to step up for a chance. She said, "Hey, Beast, you sure looking confident, huh? It'd be a shame if you broke a leg again." And then of course Vicky Lynn McCoy starts laughing and everything, because alluding to their past history and how they were responsible for re-injuring the Beast and making her having to give up the WoW World title in the first place. So Penelope continues and says, "So who's it's going to be? Are you going to give it to us, or are we going to have to take it by force?" And Vicky Lynn McCoy here was just yelling a lot of things towards the Beast, saying, "I took it first. This is my chance now, all the things and all the things." But they did not expect, and something that I did not expect either, when I was watching it, was Tiki Chamorro and the Tonga twins, formerly of WoW, coming out to defend the Beast in that way and sort of even up the odds. And so as they ran towards the ring to sort of, stand up with the Beast, the Fab Four was acting like they really weren't expecting any of that. And David McLean decided to take it upon himself to create this 8-woman tag match that would be in the main event of the episode. So that's what happened there. So Katrina, how did you feel about, the Beast trying to sort of have a say in who she wanted to face, but then getting interrupted by the Fab Four, who just can't seem to stay out of anybody's business?
it, I wasn't surprised. I feel like, you know, I didn't particularly like the whole reference to her being hurt again, because I'm like, listen, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Like, I waited too long. Girl, come back. And then when she came back, that did shenanigans. Okay, she rightfully won the title back. So don't play games like that. Like, I might have to see you. Those are the vibes I felt. But the fact that they came out with this attitude of like what they're entitled to, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna need y'all to stop acting like it's only y'all here. Like, you're not the only ones part of of WoW. You're the only ones part of the locker room. There's other people, and it's you guys always are making it about you. And if you feel like you're as good as you're saying you're good, you don't even need to say speeches about how you need something or this should be yours. You just do. That's what good. That's what people who are good do. They just do. They don't need to keep preaching about how good they are. When you doing all that, I'm looking at you like you're more good at chatting and being a chatty patty than actually doing something about it. So like personally, I wasn't surprised, but it's like, all right, we got it. We got it the last 10 times, we got the last 20 times that you guys feel like you deserve X, Y, and Z. But in this regard, Beast got her title back the way she should have. I like that she was basically saying this is how she wanted to be done, and I understand that. Like, finally give us what we were trying to get all this time previously. Before she had to get the title, and we had to go through all of the, her being gone and having a new champion and all the stuff that's happened since she's gotten back. So yeah, Fab Four, like I said, and there's like no shade to them, but like I'm like, girls, relax, we got it. It's like we seat it, okay? We got it, we got it. You guys think you need this, and that's fine and well, but that's not how it works. Like you gotta do. You gotta do. And if you're not doing and you do too much chatting, I'm personally just like, if I was a beast, I would have just been like, so anyway, that's what I would do then. But I'm not her. And so but I wasn't surprised. And I'm just like, can y'all stop? Can we move on to greener pastures? Whatever the pastures may be in WoW, move on to greener pastures and stop focusing your whole identities around being champions. Because anybody who's great don't need a championship to be great. It's just a bonus.
Exactly. Like, period. You said that. And I appreciate that because, that reminds me in terms of women's wrestling history or recent women's wrestling history in the past few years. It reminds me of the time of that amazing promo that the EST of WWE cut on Bianca Belair cut on Becky Lynch and told her how she is always going to be the EST with or without the title. And that's just what that reminds me of. And that just resonated with me so much because sometimes, it's not even a matter of the title or a matter of the accomplishment. It's a matter of how you feel about yourself and your mindset. And being the EST is a mindset, just like being a champion is a mindset. And the Beast clearly has had her mind on getting that title back for like close to a year now. And the fact that she has, gone forth and gotten it back is just proof that she was a champion in her heart and in her mind before she ever had that title back and before she even, had to give it up. Like she was always a champion. Whereas you have the Fab Four who are just so obsessed with being on top and so obsessed with the title of it and the look of it that it's almost as if they don't know how to be when they don't have it. And that is a level of insecurity that they really might have. It's like, who are we without the titles? We're just girls who sort of run around and be bullies essentially. And that's really what they are, at this point. Because even though Penelope Pink, is gifted in the ring, and I have given her credit, even though I really couldn't not have because of our past history and all of the above. Like, she's an amazing athlete and she has charisma out of this world. But just because you say you deserve something doesn't mean you actually do. Like, you have to earn it. And yeah, you may have beaten Sierra Breeze, who made her debut last week before, but that was one match. You haven't had multiple matches to prove why you deserve to be in the title picture in the traditional sense. You're just out here with the Fab Four, making it seem like you're obligated to get these opportunities just because you are who you are. And that's not how life works. Like, that is not how life works at all. Just because you may have done things in the past, or just because you might have a name, or you've done all this other stuff, does not mean that you are obligated to get things in life. Like, you can want something all you want to, but are you willing to earn it and are you willing to work for it? And I feel like the Fab Four's problem is, it's like they don't ever want to work for nothing. They just think they're just supposed to just roll up and just take everything just because they think they're cute, and that's just not the case. And I hated that because the Beast deserves to have this moment where she speaks to the people and lets people know where her mind is at since she won the title back. And the fact that they censored themselves and took the attention off of it just clearly shows how insecure they really are when they're not the center of attention. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Katrina. Like, that is a very amazing observation that you made there, because that's really real. Like, they're just insecure deep down. And the idea that Tiki and, of course, the Tongas came out to defend her, says a lot about them too, and their integrity and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. So them having all of this history with each other, you have the Beast with the entirety of the Fab Four, and definitely Vicky Lynn McCoy. And then, of course, you have the Tongas and Miami Sweet Heat and their history with each other. It was just all like a perfect marriage for a main event match. So this was really cool. I like that. So before we go into the first match, they showed another recap of Ariel Sky standing up to Coach Campanelli, telling her that she's more than a water girl, and basically, just stating her case as to why she should be in top tier as a wrestler and not a water girl. But Coach was like, look, if you want to be free of me, you need to fight, which of course they showed a recap of their freedom match, in which Ariel Sky won, and then she got attacked. And then, of course, the Mother Truckers, the WoW Tag Team Champions, came out to her defense, which leads us into match number one, which was Ariel Sky and the Mother Truckers versus a top tier. And I thought this was really cool in the sense that you had championships. Like you have these championship teams going up against each other and fighting each other. And I just thought that was really amazing. But then you also have the beef between Coach and Ariel, at the core of what's going on here. And it was just really amazing. The story of it. And then the action of it was pretty on par as well. And before Ariel and before the mother truckers could even finish their entrance, they got jumped by top tier because they like to be gangsters. Like they like to jump people and just beat up on folks, because they think they can. And it's just really crazy how vicious they are as a team. But eventually Betty, Big Rig Betty, was able to sort of bounce back in this match, of course, giving a kick to Crush and giving her a bulldog and a kick. And she was just really like fighting back. And then, of course, you had the amazing tag team chemistry of Holly and Betty as they took Crush's arms and hit like the changing lanes where they crossed her arms up and then slung her down. So that was really amazing. But then Coach, being as crafty as she likes to be, blew the whistle during the match to distract them and everything. And so they took advantage of that and proceeded to attack them. And top tier, I will give them their things and their credit. When they were able to find a rhythm in this match, they were tagging each other in and out of the match and just hitting all of the team of the mother truckers and Ariel Sky with the best of their abilities, with hard hits and of course their brash attitudes and everything. There was one point where Gloria Glitter even got in on the match and was hitting her stair stepper onto Holly Swag. It was just really like a good back and forth match. But finally, and actually there was another point in the match where top tier actually had like a series hit a like a combination um of various moves onto Holly Swag, and I was just like, yo, like y'all are operating like a machine here. It was crazy. But eventually Ariel Sky was able to get back into the ring, hit a impressive bulldog to Gloria Glitter, and then Betty and Holly threw Coach and Crush into each other, and then here Ariel hit a backflip splash to Gloria Glitter in order to win the match. So Ariel Sky and the Mother Truckers wound up getting the victory. And after they got the victory, Big Rig Betty cut a promo, um, basically saying that they had something to say to Ariel Sky, and that they said that as long as they're by her side and they don't have to worry about those sweat stack varmints anymore. Um, and then they basically said, you have some friends in the Mother Truckers, and anytime you need a hand, you know what you got to say. And then Ariel Sky said, honk, honk. So that was the end of that. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match and Ariel Sky finding the strength and the courage to stand on her own and defeat top tier along with the mother truckers?
I I like this matchup. I felt like in the last few weeks, in the last few months, with everything that happened with Team Spirit and then Team New Spirit, or in Ariel kind of being a little conflicted of wanting to be with Coach and kind of throwing the other girls under the bus, but then also deciding that the right thing wasn't what she was doing. And so you have those type of like it was tough for Ariel. And so to kind of see her even and to have some assistance from somebody else, to have the assistance from the mother truckers and kind of just like let her know that for this, for the time she has them. And it's unfortunate because I feel like in a way, like if Ariel maybe didn't throw the other girls under the bus, they might have been there to be there for her. And this is kind of why she kind of have like a new set of people that are here. But then also it's always nice when you're like struggling in a situation or you're like getting beat up or getting jumped and there's somebody that's there for you. And so in that regard, I think it was like really fitting that Ariel was the one who basically got the final move to win this match. I don't know if that means now she finally moves away from, her feelings about Coach Campanelli and what happened during the tournament for the trios, trophies. I don't know if that's what this means because she technically finally did it. Like she had the mother truckers there, but she also did do this. Like she was the one who got the final move, the final pin, and so those type of things is like, yay! I feel like in regards to how she can look at herself, like I did this. Like yes, she had assistance, but the moment the as they say the clutch or the like the buzzer beater or whatever the case may be, she was able to do that, and so I don't know if that means that they like she moves away from focusing on them and maybe move to newer pastures. And we see her because when she first got there, she was always under Coach Campanelli for the most part. And so it's like, was this be the opportunity for her to kind of thrive on her own and do this without a team? And I'm looking forward to that. But I think this is a very fitting win, very deserved win because top tier was doing the absolute most for no reason. And I like the ladies and all, but like y'all was doing too much to kind of do all that and start off where you guys basically didn't let them finish. It's like, let's see what happens when you do nonsense. You see, you lost. Maybe don't do behave in that way. But I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, you're right. Like it was definitely like refreshing and amazing to see Ariel Sky get that win, and she definitely deserved after everything that she had gone through with the trios tournament and with coach, being passive aggressive and then uber aggressive. I know that's not the word, but uber aggressive towards her when it came to the way the team spirit went, and I was really happy for her in that regard. And a part of me weirdly enough wants her to regather team spirit and be a leader herself, because she's a part of the reason why Sasha Sparks had a place to be and had a home to find when it came to being with coach and then Pep Riley and her. So a part of me would love it if Ariel decided to reform team spirit and be the leader of it. But then again, if she did decide to be on her own, then I would definitely get that too. So I would be here for that as well, because I mean, she definitely deserves it because she is, she has an aura to her and she just has the ability to be, on her own and stand on her own 2 feet in that way. But I am happy that, the mother truckers in their, championship life decided to defend her honor in that way, because nobody wants to go through, stuff like that alone. And in the absence of Pep Riley and Sasha Sparks, which disappoints me just a little bit, it's great that she still found friends in Holly and Betty. So yeah, I really enjoyed the match, and I enjoyed Top Tier's performance in it as well, even though, of course, they were and have been doing the absolute most, like you said. They have been doing the absolute most, but at the end of the day, I can't deny, how well they perform together. Like, they really are a top tier team, and that's no pun intended. Like, they really are really great as, the team. But I almost wonder if in a fun revenge kind of way, if Ariel would actually go to war with top tier again for the trios championship that she should have won in the first place. I feel like that would be really cool on some petty stuff. But then again, if she doesn't, I get that too, because I mean, Jesus, sometimes you just need to take some time to heal. So yeah. But either way, I'm so happy with how the match turned out. I'm so happy Ariel Sky got that win. Um and yeah, top tier might need to go back to the drawing board. Cliff saying hi on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Hey, Cliff. And thank all of you for watching who are watching with us live. And of course, you can watch this later. So after this, we had a match between two faves. It was pretty hard at first. You had Fury coming out with Rebel Haze, the new heavy metal sister, going up against G.I. Jane. And I was not expecting this match at all, because of course the last time we saw G.I. Jane, she was fighting in a very dominant fashion with IQ Superior, but of course Samantha Smart was just being throwing in all of her shenanigans to try to like cheat G.I. Jane out of wins and stuff. And I was hoping that this would be a little bit different in the sense that G.I. Jane would still be able to show that she could lock in and get a victory here. But here again, Fury having Rebel Haze out there with her, it was really different. And I was really kind of frustrated with the way that it went. But this match was really good, from a technical standpoint, from not just a technical standpoint, but from a power standpoint, because Fury, of course, is the veteran. Um, wrestler in this match. So she kind of had G.I. Jane's number a little bit when it came to the technical stuff, but I will say that G.I. Jane stepped up her game because there was a point where she actually had a triangle choke locked in with her legs, and she tried to submit Fury out. And then, of course, you have the sheer power that G.I. Jane possesses, where she'll lift you up and slam you down. And it's just like, yo, like, I just love her so much. I just love watching her and her evolution in the ring. She just continues to get better and better with each passing match. And I wanted G.I. Jane to win this so very bad. No shade to Fury, but G.I. Jane is that girl. And I don't know how many times I have to keep saying it, but she deserves all the things and they need to give her all the things and let her have a championship run at some point, please. Because she's just so good. And I just want to see her, rise up a whole lot more. And the crowd was just kind of split a little bit because, like I said, these are two faves in the WoW audience. It's like Fury is the heavy metal sister that everybody really likes, and then G.I. Jane has been standing on her own 2 feet, and she's just been like, yeah, like this is me now. So I'm just wondering how this is gonna go. And in the end, the match wound up going a way that I did not want it to go. After G.I. Jane picked up Fury for a maggot drop and a pump kick, Fury grabbed the bottom rope for a rope break to break up the count. But then after that happened, Rebel Haze decided to jump on the apron and distract G.I. Jane. And she kicked her off the apron, and Fury took advantage of it and rolled her up for the 1, 2, 3, and Fury won the match. And I was bummed out. Very bummed out. Because why? But before I talk more about how bummed out I was, Katrina, how did you feel about the match and the action of both of these women and how the match ended?
I do think it was a good match, and I can see how, I am fans of both as well. I can see how the audience could be a bit split because, to an extent, Furry was trying to get her groove back for a bit before as well, and then she found some kind of, you know, she found things in kind with Rebel Haze, and so she's kind of getting her groove back, getting back into what she was doing previously. With G.I. Jane, who kind of had to leave her group to kind of prove a point, and they didn't particularly like it. It's like she's trying to find her footing as a solo competitor. She's trying to find her footing as somebody who's not part of a group anymore. And so when she's like, you see her like trying to do well, but then you have somebody who's like, oh, we're kind of going to maybe engage in some things that's not necessarily the right way to engage in something. I'm sure it has to be frustrating, especially if you feel like you might have been better in the match or you might have been doing what you could do, and then something like that allows you to be rolled up. Again, I really don't like roll up hits. I really don't. So like, I can understand how she could be if she feels frustrated about that. Like that's just something that's like, oh, you probably would have had it if that didn't happen. But I did think it was a good match. I did think Rebel kind of doing that kind of gave me more on a heel side, and I felt like they were more faces to an extent. So I don't know, it kind of felt like they were tweeting there a little bit with how they were kind of, that was a kind of a not a nice face kind of thing to do. But I did think both ladies like did their thing. I just felt it was just more disappointing because I feel like G.I. Jane is really trying to find her footing outside of uh IQ superior. She's trying to find her footing away from that, and it's like she's kind of being chopped back down every time she tries to move past it. It's like something else or some other match kind of gives her a loss. So that's unfortunate. But I did think both ladies were great in this match.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like there was a between there because as long not well let me backtrack. When we started watching WoW, the Heavy Metal Sisters, they were phased and they kind of went bad. And they kind of went bad and had a bad phase. And then they kind of went good. And then now we have Fury on her own. And she was essentially, really good on her own too. And Rebel, and she was kind of like a good guy too. So to see them sort of shift this time, which is really interesting, I was like, huh, okay, attitude change maybe, I don't know, but I did find that very interesting. But it was really hard because it's like I said, I love both women and everything that they had to offer in this match, and I was really disappointed because it just felt like It was sort of like, I guess what, like the song Whitney Houston and Deborah Cox made called The Same Script, Different Cast. And it just felt like the way that this match ended was just the same script and a different cast. Like G.I. Jane got distracted by somebody and she wound up losing to the opponent who used the distraction. And that upset me because I'm just like, ma'am, how many times are you going to let these people, distract you from what's going on in the ring? Like, please get locked in so you can, get these victories and stack these wins up. And I feel like with everything that she's gone through with IQ Superior, with Samantha Smart, the class master, and the disciplinarian, I find that if she's going to move away from them, then she's really going to have to seriously lock in and, run through everybody, because clearly she has the arsenal. She has the tools. She just has to use them. And once she uses them and locks in, the way that I guess a soldier would lock in, then she'll be unstoppable. And that's just really what I want. I just want G.I. Jane to be fully unstoppable and start running through all of these women and just winning everything, because she can, because she has all the tools. So it was just really disappointing for me to see her kind of get distracted in that way. And it disappointed me that Rebel would even do that, because do you not believe in your girl to get the job done on her own? Like, what's going on there? But she probably just felt like she was just helping her. But still, I just didn't like it. But I love this match, and I loved Fury showing more of her technical side, and I just love that G.I. Jane was able to rise to the occasion of facing someone like her. It was just really, really good, and I just want G.I. Jane to lock in and you know get it focused, because I just want her to run through everybody. So that's just how we felt about that. Fury got the win, but we are still pulling for G.I. Jane. Okay, rooting for everybody black over here. So moving into the third match, we had another tag team match between Animal Instinct, that's Katarina Jinx and Goldie Collins, versus the Mighty Might, Sugar and Spice. And what's so funny is I love how on commentary, David McLean last week and this week was talking about how come we always say sugar and spice and not spice and sugar. And then he said that people were roasting him because he asked such a stupid question. And honestly, I don't feel like it's the stupidest question to ask, because sometimes I feel like, there really is no such thing as a stupid question. That's what I learned in high school. And I feel like that is a good question, because growing up, that's all you ever heard was sugar and spice. It was never spice and sugar. Even the first time I heard sugar and spice, it was always geared towards the Powerpuff Girls, and that was it. And then I found out there was an older phrase, and it was always sugar and spice and not spice and sugar. But hey, whatever. I mean, whatever it is, it gets the job done and it makes your food taste good. So hey, it's whatever. Um Either way, this match was pretty okay. This match was pretty good for the most part, on the count of the chemistry of the Mighty Mites up against the chemistry of Animal Instinct. Because even though they've tagged together before, they haven't really tagged a whole lot together. So you could kind of tell there was a disjointed energy between Goldie Collins and Katarina Jinx. Jesus Christ. Katarina Jinx and the Mighty Mites. Like, the Mighty Mites were definitely there to play and just go crazy. Like, there was a point where Goldie wanted to underestimate Spice when she tried to lock her in for not for a suplex, and then she was laughing at her. But then once she was able to reverse it into a wrist submission, and she was making dog noises at her, that was when Goldie really realized, like, oh, okay, well, I can't really, you know, just undermine this girl and underestimate her. No. And then, like I mentioned with the chemistry, you had not Goldie, you had Sugar and Spice come in the ring, double up and double team on both Katarina and Goldie, hitting like their do-si do and their jalapeno popper stomps on the girls and everything. And I just feel like that's really where the trajectory of the match kind of changed for me. I was just like, yeah, these girls are really focused here, because it sort of reminded me when they first got to WoW and how they were losing quite a bit, but it feels like now they have a new energy to them, and they're very determined to show the best of themselves, and they were definitely doing that here. But I will give some credit to Katarina and Goldie, because they were actually working together pretty well towards the mid part of the match, but it just didn't work out for them. Sugar was hitting all kinds of chest blows, and then she hit a knee, and then she hit a springboard submission, and then sort of like she hit like a crucifix like pin to Katarina Jinx in order to win the match. So the Mighty Mites wound up winning, and their quickness and agility wound up being what led them to that victory. And that was just really cool. Like, I'm always impressed whenever I watch them wrestle. So I was really happy that they got this win as a tag team, because they've gotten wins as a trios team with Kita Rush or with Steffi Slays, but watching them get this win as a tag team solely was just really great. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match?
I thought it was a good match. I do think that, with Animal Instinct, they are definitely two different types of personalities, but they for the most part have been working well together. I don't know what happened in this matchup. And maybe it just speaks to the Mighty Mites maybe being a little more cohesive, or maybe being more of a unit, that they kind of fell apart a bit. Like, I felt like just, Sugar and Spice, they kind of had, you know, their game a little better, because they've kind of came in together. They came in as a team. They came in as a unit, and Animal Instinct, as well as they normally was doing, as far as how we've seen them teamed up. This just wasn't. It wasn't like, I don't know if it was just miscommunication, or it just was that was just how much better the Mighty Mites was. But I do think this was a good match. But I definitely think in this matchup that the Mighty Mites really they shined in this. I think this is kind of what we first saw. Like, even when in the first match they did lose their debut, but they were so good. They were so in unison. They were so together. And I think this is something that now that they're also winning, I'm sure, like, when you win something, you kind of have a little bit of what you call it. Like, okay, I'm feeling this, feeling myself right now, because you're winning. And so you of course, if you're in a good space, or you're in this positive space and you're winning, you're going to be more inclined to want to maybe be better, even better than you might have been when you were losing. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now with the Mighty Mites. Is just they're feeling it right now, like in both ways, with them as a unit, but then with the wins. I think that has helped. But this is not even shade to Animal Instinct, because they kind of were just recently thrown together and they've done well. It's just was, I think, in this match, the Mighty Mites just had a bit of an edge, because they kind of came in already as a unit. And I do think that in general, that always changes things. It's very rare a team that might have gotten put together, this is any kind of sport, will work together well right away. Sometimes you have to tweak things, you got to fix things, you have to move things, whatever the case may be. And I think that's just one of the situations that the Mighty Mites just had an edge in that regard. But I did enjoy the match.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you did mention, how there was a miscommunication, because there was one point in the match where Goldie had a cover onto one of the members of the Mighty Mites, and then Katarina tried to, I guess, hit one of the members of the Mighty Mites, but then she wound up hitting Goldie instead, because Sugar or Spice moved out of the way. And I feel like that really set the precedent for how weird their energy was, throughout the match. Even though they wound up, cleaning it up later, it was just kind of like, yo, well, how guys? Like, how what's going on? Like, are you guys losing like that animal instinct that you guys, once had, or what's happening? But like, it was still, a good match, and I am happy that the Mighty Mites are winning and are sort of, gaining the upper hand and finding their way. So for all we know, they could want to challenge for the WoW Tag Team Championships, because as it stands now, nobody outside of the Carlson sisters, all shade involved, have declared themselves for wanting to challenge Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag. So I'm going to need for the Mighty Mites and any other tag team really to actually start filling in and challenging the Mother Truckers, because it can't just be the Mother Truckers and the Carlson sisters fighting all the time. Like, we need more contenders for the Wild Tag Team Championships, as well as the Trios Championship as well. So, I mean, hey, we're really good about finding out, who's going to challenge next for the Wild World title, but let's keep it going and keep it consistent for the other titles, underneath those as well. So yeah, that was pretty good. And the Mighty Mites definitely deserve their flowers for how good that match was. So they did show a recap of the Beast's ongoing beef with the Fab Four, and it was interesting watching that back because they showed how she had conquered her injury only to get re-injured by Vicky Lynn McCoy and their, dastardly plan to vacate the title so Penelope could go ahead and win it and stuff at that gauntlet match. And then they showed the footage from LA Comic Con, which put me in my feelings for about a good 2 minutes. And I was just like, oh my God, we were there. But outside of that though, they basically just showed everything of what happened up until that point, even showing the Beast getting her title back and the Fab Four, claiming their intentions for trying to get all the titles back and everything. And it was even crazier when they showed the older footage of them having all of the titles in the Fab Four. And I'm just like, man, that was forever ago. That feels like forever ago, even though it was only like 2 years ago. Like, oh my God, like I remember all of this. I don't know if I'm just in a nostalgic mood or whatever, but I was just like, man, like we've really watched all this from its start to its kind of finish and all of the above. But yeah, that was a nice recap that I just particularly enjoyed in that episode. um, Katrina, did you have any nostalgic feelings while watching that part, or was it just me? I feel like it was
Yeah,
just
it's
me.
always nice to
Okay.
because we were there, and I think like it's just always gonna have a bit of a special place because we actually got to see it in person and got to kind of experience that live, and we were just I think this is when we first started like doing it that year, so it was like kind of to
Mm-hmm.
be all of a sudden there in that space was really cool, and then also obviously because we had the panel and that's always a me, so like yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's just so insane how that happens. It's just stuff like that. It just makes you realize how blessed you are in that, you know, in that space, cuz sometimes you just get caught up in all of the, ups and downs of what goes on in wrestling and, on social media and stuff. When you look at stuff like that, it just reminds you of what it's all about, which are the moments that you just, hold dear to your heart and soul. So, yeah, let me stop before I start crying. Um, later on, after they show the recap of the Beast and the Fab Four saga, they announced that on this weekend's episode of WoW, which will be airing on Saturday and Sunday, we will be getting a tag team match between Little J Boogie and Steffi Slays versus BK Rhythm and GGG Ani. I'm so excited about this because I want to see Little J Boogie, you know, and wonder how her chemistry is going to be with Steffi Slays, considering they just, linked up and became friends. And I also want to see Lil J Boogie kind of go crazy on these girls who just turned their back on her and treated her like trash and all of the above and attacked her with her bump box, which aren't those things are not cheap, but whatever. Um like they attacked her with it. So I'm just really excited to see how this tag team match is going to go this weekend. And of course, you have the other matches that will be happening on this weekend as well. And I can't wait to watch them so we can talk about them. So, moving into the main event, we have the Island Dynasty of Tiki Chamorro and the Tonga Twins going up against, and the Beast going up against the Fab Four. And this match was all you could ask it to be. The match got started with the Island Dynasty and the Beast just running in, getting ready to fight in the Fab Four. And that is what I love. That's the type of energy I like to see. It's like, let's not just make all these entrances. Let's just run in and just start fighting and start punching and start kicking. Let's go. That is how real life fights are. Ain't no talking, ain't no staring, just bah, 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 bah. So I just appreciated that. And you had a lot of power being shown on the part of the Beast and of course on the part of the Tongas. It was just really great to see all of that on display. But of course, you have all the shenanigans and the craziness of the Fab Four and the Carlson sisters ganging up on the Tonga twins and just watching them fight each other back and forth. But then it was pretty satisfying again to see Vicky Lynn fighting the Beast because, of course, the last time they fought, it was in a more extreme match. And the Beast put her through a table, which kept her out of action for a while. So that was really insane. But then also to see Tiki Chamorro, go up against Penelope Pink and fight her with conviction and courage, which is really cool too. So all in all, this was an amazing way to end the episode. It was an amazing 8 women tag. And of course, the winners were the Beast and the Island Dynasty. They wound up winning after the Beast hit a spear onto I believe it was Vicky Lynn McCoy. So yeah, they won the match in that dominant fashion. The Beast got that victory. Tiki hit her Tiger Fate kick. Everything was cool. It was an amazing match. And yeah, it just ended with them standing in triumph. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this main event and just all of the action that we saw within the match?
It was nice to see. I know like the Tongas are no longer part of WoW, but I was always happy to see them. They were definitely one of my favorite teams there, and so to kind of see them and then see them with Tiki, especially because it was kind of like a few weeks ago, it was kind of like I wasn't sure, just because they did seem like they weren't too concerned about Tiki, but then they were again. But also just to have somebody as dominant as the Beast and to have like three of my faves, and then you had her in there too. You're like, yay! Like I was really hyped. And again, this is like, 'cause I do think again my beef, the level of beef I have with Abilene is what you have with Penelope Pink. And so, and well, to be fair, I like Vicky Lynn because she did to the beast. So that's the level though. But like your level of, I like Penelope Pink in regards to, I think her in ring ability is just fantastic. And I thought she really showcased that in this match. I even thought that it was kind of good, especially after, Vicky was talking that smack earlier in the show, that, her and the beast kind of had their moment to kind of go one on one again, because like, girly, you was laughing up like something was funny. Like you weren't the reason we were robbed of what should have been. Okay. And so like I was kind of glad that that happened, but I thought it was a really good matchup. The Fab Four, they've worked together for so long. They've been together for so long. And so you expected them to do well. But in just this regard, it's just like you had most, except for Vicky, everybody in this matchup were champions or former champions. Excuse me, and Tiki, because Tiki hasn't either. So you had the one person who might not have been a champion on both sides, but then you had a former tag champion on both ends, and then you had former champions on both ends. And actually, in a very weird way, it was like, the transition between the Beast and Penelope to championship, and then you had back and forth between the Tongas and between the Miami Sweet Heat. And so I thought that was like a nice little touch, per se, that kind of have that kind of played out that way. But I thought it was great. I was perfectly happy with the win. I was perfectly happy with the end. I thought that them coming in, starting off, I'm like, yeah, personally, if it makes me more heelish, I always make the joke that if like the Undertaker took 20 years, I'm not waiting for him to come down. Like I'm gonna beat you up in the ramp. You're doing too much. You take too long. You're delaying the fight. You want to take 20 years to walk down slowly. Like, no, I'm gonna take it to the ring. I'm gonna take it to the ramp. And so in that regard, I was like, yes, because that's what I would do. I'm like, I'm not waiting for all of this extra. And so to be fair, I would do the same. And with again all the smack that they were talking in the beginning of the show, I felt like this was rightfully so. But I was very glad that the match, but very even more happier with the ending. It was definitely a good way to end the episode.
Yeah, it really was. Like, and I'm glad that you mentioned that there are a lot of, championship titles in between all of these teams. It's pretty insane, the back and forth that these women have had with each other when it comes to all the gold and everything. So, oh gosh, Tiki really hasn't won a title. They need to fix that. I mean, I feel like, of course, eventually every woman should have a championship at some point, but they really should fix that. Like Tiki, yeah, she could stand to have a championship at some point. But yeah, like, and even Vicky too, to a degree, because it's just like you would think that Vicky would have all of the energy towards the Beast and try to challenge her for said title now, and it wouldn't be all about Penelope trying to go for it. I understand that Penelope's like the blue chip, you know athlete that you think of when it comes to being the face of WoW or whatever, but how come Vicky Lynn hasn't had a chance to challenge for the WoW World title? I mean, I'm pretty sure she would want to be more than an enforcer, even though now, of course, she's no longer with WoW either. But it's just like in terms of story at that point, like I would have like at that point I would have preferred for Vicky to step up and speak to why she should be the next challenger as opposed to Penelope doing it again. Because I'm just like, girl, okay, we know you have all the tools, even though, you're arrogant. Because there was one point where she covered one of the members of Team Beast and Island Dynasty, and she blew a kiss thinking that was just gonna be it. And I'm just like, girl, stop. That's not how life goes. And she's just so arrogant, but it's just like, why does it always have to be about you? It just goes back to that promo that they cut where the Fab Four was talking about how they had each other's backs. And Penelope was like, yeah, the Fab Four has my back. It's just all about her all the time. And it's just frustrating. But I am happy that the Beast and the Island Dynasty were able to get that win and stand up to the Fab Four. So maybe this will knock them down a peg or two, and just help them to chill out a bit and not try to go for everything all the time, because everything's not all about them. So yeah, I was really happy with how this match went. And yeah, it's always love to every woman in that match, but definitely always love to the Tongas and Vicky Lynn McCoy and everything that happened after that point. But it it was really good to see that match take place. And that's how the episode ended. And so now that we've reached the end of that episode, we've reached the end of our time together. So, of course, thank all of you guys so much for watching on all of our platforms. There are 46 of you guys watching. So, thank you guys so, 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 so much for tuning in for Steph and Cat Talk. Wow. I hope you guys continue to support the show on both of our channels and continue to watch it as we continue to cover it, and just continue to show love to women's wrestling as a whole. Of course, if you want to check out WoW Superheroes on television, you can go on their website, wowe.com, and look it up based off of your zip code or whatever city you live in, and you can find what channel it comes on for you on regular television. Or you can watch it on Vice TV, of course, if you have like the app, or if you watch that channel as well. Or you can watch it on Pluto TV or on Hulu, or you can watch the episode or the matches from the weekend's past episode on their YouTube channel, which is WoW Superheroes. And of course, after you watch the episode, you can come back here, where we'll tell you everything that happened on the show and how we felt about it. So, of course, Katarina, thank you so much for joining me as usual. And just tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
You guys can find and follow me in Cat We Trust, the Easy Three, in every place except for Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Just kind of continue to follow my YouTube for any new shows with regard to any interviews. My other show I have with my friend Haven. I do work at bodyslam.net on Tuesdays after NXT to cover NXT on the Meta 2 after show with my girlie Shay. And then obviously, usually when everything is not crazy and off, well, it's been insane the last few months, and this is why we've been everywhere else at once with the day for a while. But normally you can catch us on Wednesdays as well, covering WoW Superheroes. And I will be, if you guys follow, I am a writer, and I do have an anthology I'm a part of, which is helping some families, which I'm very happy to be part of. And so if that is your jam, I will be revealing the cover tomorrow on my social media, so you can find that in the link to the cover, as well as if you want to pre-order and support it, is going to charity. If that's your vibe, it will be live tomorrow, so just keep lookout on socials.
That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. That's so amazing. So, of course, you can find and follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter/X at Queen Steph Hardy. And you can follow my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and on Twitter/X at Hardy Wrestle Pod. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, with the pink, purple, and blue logo with HWP in the middle of the wrestling ring. That's me. And of course, just continue to support me in all of my endeavors, because I have about 10 of them. So actually, no, not 10. But either way, just continue to support me and everything I've got going on. I'm trying to be more consistent with my regular episodes of HWP. So that's been going on. So if you missed my last 2 episodes, please go and listen to those or watch those on the YouTube channel. I have fun doing them. There was lots of predictions going on for various pay-per-views that have been happening throughout the month of June, because it's been a lot. And then I have to do another one because Clash of the Castle is this weekend. So I'm gonna have to do another episode where I'm talking about stuff going on in wrestling too, because this week has been like a lot. So that's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna do a new episode there. And of course, go on Daily DDT and check out all of my articles and writings there. Please read my article on why Megan Thee Stallion should be the next mainstream star that WWE should pursue. I had so much fun writing that article, and I'm so proud of it. So please go on dailyddt.com and read that article, as well as all my other articles too, that I might share at random times, if it applies. Because Otis was on Raw talking about how he lost Mandy Rose, and I shared one of my articles about her. So you just, never know when it might pop up. So just read my stuff and be on the lookout for me for doing commentary work. And of course, next weekend is Juneteenth, which means in Birmingham, there's going to be a lot going on. And there will be an African American Comic Expo taking place, which is sponsored and created with Blurred Over, and I'll be having a panel there about is it cool to be a Black wrestling fan now? So please come and check that out. I'm really excited about it because it's my very first panel. So yeah, it's gonna be great. And I believe that's about all. Of course, watch all of our episodes of Steph and Cat Talk Wow as we continue to grow the show and give love to these girls on here. And just continue to support us and watch all of our interviews that we've done with the girls as well. Those are available on both of our channels, and just continue to support us in our wrestling endeavors and our other endeavors as well. So, of course, this has been Steph and Cat Talk Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. And until next time, be safe, be loving, and of course, happy Father's Day to those who acknowledge it. That is coming up, and I'm really excited about that. And special shout out to my dad, who got me into wrestling in the first place. So he's the reason why this madness is going on in front of you. But yeah, happy Father's Day to him. So until next time, bye, y'all.